Mom deliberately infected me with gynecological diseases and made me marry a wealthy old man to help my sister pay off her debts. After I was tortured to death, my sister became the good sister who sought justice for me online. She gained a large number of fans and made a lot of money by selling goods under the guise of being a good sister. Only then did I realize that it was all my sister's idea. When I opened my eyes again, I went back to the day when my sister was being chased by tattooed men for debts. "If you don't pay back the money, I'll tear you apart." The tattooed man in front of me pointed at my sister ferociously, and the anger in his eyes was about to burst out. I suddenly came to my senses. This familiar scene was happening again. In my previous life, although I was scared, I still stood up and shielded my sister behind me. However, she took the opportunity to push me forward, and I stepped on the tattooed man's foot. They thought I was provoking them and beat me half to death. My sister used me to get an extra month to pay back the money. When I couldn't move in the hospital, my sister was giving Mom ideas. "Mom, I know a wealthy old man who loves young girls the most. Why don't we marry my sister off to him? Look at how my sister is now. We don't have any extra money to save her. Mom, if I can't come up with the money in a month, they will really tear me apart and sell me." Mom, who had doted on my sister since childhood, burst into tears upon hearing this and agreed without thinking. After a while, as if she remembered something, she said again, "But your sister has been proud since she was a little girl. She won't agree." My sister snorted coldly. "Mom, aren't you sick? Infect her while she can't move now. Let's see how she can still be proud after getting that shameful disease." Yes, my Vivian is the smartest." Hearing their conversation, tears welled up in the corners of my eyes. My sister slapped me hard. "Stop crying, damn it. So what if you heard it? What can you do to me? Ha ha ha, you've been better than me since we were kids and always overshadowed me. This time, I want to see how you can still be proud." Alright. It would be a pity to break your nails later." I was choked by her so that I couldn't breathe, but Mom was still worried about her newly done nails. After that day, Mom infected me with gynecological diseases. When I woke up, my sister looked at me gloatingly. "Sister, you're sick now. You're a perfect match for that wealthy and sick old man. So what if you're excellent? You're still being played around by me and have to marry that disabled and perverted old man." Ha ha ha. On the day I was discharged from the hospital, they sent me directly to the old man's house. I, who had not recovered yet, was tortured to death by the old man in just one day. After I died, my sister became the good sister who sought justice for her sister online. She made a fortune by playing the victim to gain fans and sell goods. This is my home. Don't go too far. Vivian's voice brought my thoughts back, and I realized that I had dug my nails into my palms. Looking at her still as arrogant as in the previous life, I smiled. While saying that, she, just like in the previous life, tried to push me forward. But I, who was already prepared, dodged precisely. When Vivian raised her head and roared out this sentence, a slap landed on her face. "You owe money and still think you're in the right, huh?" Vivian, who had been spoiled since childhood, couldn't bear this grievance at all. She looked at them with contempt and cursed them as lackeys. Then she began to cry and roll around on the ground. However, she forgot that outsiders wouldn't spoil her. And this time, I'm going to let go of the urge to help others and respect their fates. Looking at those burly men with angry faces, Vivian finally realized something was wrong. At this moment, Mom hadn't come back yet, and I was the only one who could help her. She grabbed my hand in panic. "Sister, save me. Why did you dodge?" In an instant, those men looked at me menacingly. I took 2 steps back and shook off her hand. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. I didn't see anything. After saying that, I went into the room and locked the door. Outside the door, Vivian was beaten until she wailed like a ghost. But she still didn't forget to drag me down with her. "Go to my sister. If she doesn't have money, I allow you to sell her." "Ah, who the hell are you?" I only want money, not people. After shouting a few times, Vivian was beaten even more brutally. She began to cry and beg me. Sister, help. Save me. Seeing that I didn't respond, she started to threaten me. Serena, if you don't come out, I'll never let you go. I couldn't help sneering. There's no way I'll save you. Your suffering has just begun. In my previous life, when I was being beaten, Vivian stood aside covering her mouth and laughing. When she saw that I couldn't move after being beaten, she jumped out and said, "You've beaten my sister like this. If you force me again, I'll call the police. Of course I'll pay back the money, but I just need some time." She looked at me on the ground, and a sinister look appeared in her eyes. "And this time, I will definitely pay it back." In this way, she used my bruised and battered body to buy a month's time. In that 1 month, she reached the peak of her life. While I was tortured and fell into hell. Now that I have a second chance, how can you not taste this kind of bitterness? When Agatha came back, those men had already fled. And Vivian had already passed out. Looking at the blood all over the ground, she desperately called for help. I slowly opened the door and stretched. She pointed at Vivian and asked me through gritted teeth, "Why did you beat her like this?" "Oh, my dear Mom." Vivian's head was swollen like a pig's head, and it was almost like her brains were going to burst out. "I don't have such great strength. You really overestimate me." I told her the whole story, and she rushed up to hit me. "You beast. Why did you watch them beat your sister like this? Why didn't you stand up and help her? How much pain she must be in. If I don't beat you to look like her today, I'm not your mom. Look at that." When she came back and saw me lying on the ground in the past, she wasn't this excited. She just hugged the crying sister affectionately and comforted her, saying, "Vivian, don't be afraid. It doesn't matter if your sister dies. Mom has you, and that's enough." When she said this, I hadn't completely passed out yet. Seeing that my eyes were fixed on them, she even came over and stepped on me and kicked my face aside. Finally, it was Vivian who was afraid that I would really die and she couldn't pay off the debt, so she called 120. Looking at Agatha rushing over with bloodshot eyes, I didn't hold back like I used to. I simply dodged to the side and let her rush towards the corner. "If you don't save her, she'll die." I didn't want Vivian to die either. After all, if she died like this, it would be too easy on her. Agatha finally couldn't care about me anymore and hurriedly called an ambulance. When the ambulance arrived, Agatha dragged me into the vehicle too. She held on to me tightly and shouted at the doctor, "Quickly transfuse some blood for my daughter. Just draw it from this person." "I agree." The doctor gave me a sympathetic look and then snapped at her, "We know what we're doing." In the hospital, Vivian was undergoing emergency treatment inside, and Agatha was pacing back and forth anxiously. I was leisurely filing my nails beside them. The long nails were filed into sharp cones, looking rather creepy. I could already imagine how satisfying it would be when these sharp nails dug into Vivian's flesh. "What are you doing looking like a ghoul, you debt collector?" Seeing me smiling as I stared at my nails, Agatha started taking her anger out on me. Seeing that I didn't say anything, she rushed up, grabbed my head, and slammed it against the wall. I fought back vigorously, scratching her face with my newly filed nails. She didn't expect me to resist and got her face scratched by me, with blood streaming down. She didn't stop until the doctor who pushed the door open reprimanded her. "Vivian's family. Vivian's blood test report is abnormal. You'd better get checked immediately too." "Ah? What do you mean?" "Vivian has AIDS. You'd better have your blood drawn and checked right away." I panicked and immediately rushed into the toilet to wash my blood-stained hands. Agatha often ate the food left by Vivian, so there was a high probability that she would be infected. I only felt relieved after checking that there were no cuts on my body. When I came out, Agatha was still in shock. She looked at me helplessly and resentfully. "It's all your fault. How could Vivian have been found to have AIDS if it weren't for you?" I was so angry that I felt like laughing. Since childhood, as long as it was about Vivian's affairs, she could always twist logic and come up with all sorts of excuses. Even with this matter now, she could still blame it on me. I finally understood. Some mothers are really born unable to love one of their daughters. Some people are just born bad. Seeing me smiling slightly, she suddenly put on a gloomy face and sneered, "Do you think you can escape? The panties you're wearing are the ones Vivian has worn." I turned my head and asked with a smile, "Don't you think I don't know that?" Although I was 2 years younger than Vivian, Agatha never bought me new clothes since I was a child. I always wore the clothes that Vivian had outgrown. Because I always wore ill-fitting clothes, I was teased and bullied by my classmates. In order not to wear her hand-me-downs, I lived frugally and wore the clothes I bought myself whenever possible. Moreover, I had known for a long time that Vivian didn't have a decent private life. Since she failed to enter university, she had started hanging around with all kinds of men and was even proud of it. How could I possibly wear the clothes she had worn? The blood test results showed that I hadn't been infected. Surprisingly, Agatha hadn't been infected either. Seeing her sighing with deep relief, I somehow felt like laughing. Seeing me getting up, she also quickly got up and blocked my way. "You can't leave. You have to stay and take care of your sister." She said it as if it were a matter of course. Seeing that I had no expression on my face, she started to morally blackmail me. "Do you know how hard it was for me to raise you? You say that I always gave the good things to your sister first, but you're the older sister. Of course you should give in to your sister. An older sister is like a mother. Don't you know that? What are you fussing about with your sister?" "Oh, that only applies when the real mother is dead," I retorted with a smile. You. Before she could finish speaking, Vivian was pushed out. Her whole body was wrapped in gauze, and several drainage tubes were inserted into her abdomen. She looked as miserable as she did in my previous life. The difference was that she was already conscious when she came out. She looked at Agatha pitifully and called out, "Mom." However, Agatha stayed 3 meters away from her, afraid that her saliva would splash on her. When the doctor was teaching the family members how to take care of Vivian, she also stayed far away. "Serena, go and learn to take care of your sister," she ordered me. I stood aside with a slight smile. When the doctor left, I slapped Vivian hard on the face and then pinched her fiercely. In an instant, tears welled up in her eyes, and she glared at me viciously. I slapped her hard again, imitating her tone from the previous life, and said, "What are you glaring at? There's nothing you can do to me. Ha ha ha, you're sick now. You're a perfect match for that wealthy and sick old man." Agatha was shouting beside us but didn't dare to take a step closer. If this hadn't happened, I would have thought that Agatha loved Serena so much. Now it seemed that she loved herself more. Seeing this situation, an idea came to my mind. "Mom, she has AIDS now. It's contagious. And this disease requires long-term medication to control it, and it will cost a lot of money in the future. Besides, she still owes such a large sum of money. Why don't we marry her off to that wealthy and sick old man who likes young girls?" As soon as I said this, Vivian got anxious. She started cursing me while lying on the bed. When her curses became more and more vulgar, Agatha said, "But would anyone want her in her condition?" "Yes. AIDS with AIDS. What a perfect match," I said with a smile as I looked at Vivian's flushed face with anger. "Mom, don't listen to her. I'll be filial to you in the future. I'll buy you a big villa and all kinds of famous brand bags for you." Vivian started making empty promises. I have to say that Vivian was really good at making empty promises. Since she was a child, she had been eloquent and coaxed the elders in the family to treat her like a treasure. "Haha, I'm healthy and in college. After graduating from college, I can get a very good job. Who do you think you can rely on in the end?" I stared at Agatha, speaking word by word. Agatha seemed to have had an epiphany. Her eyes lit up all of a sudden. "Marry her off. I'll go and make contact right away." Vivian looked at Agatha despairingly. "Mom, I'm your Vivian. How can you be so heartless?" "Vivian, it's not that Mom is cruel, but you have this disease. Be obedient. If you marry him, you still have a chance of survival. If we keep you at home and the whole family gets infected, what should we do?" If that really happens, your father will beat me to death when he comes back. I suddenly remembered that it was almost time for my father to come back to ask for money. No wonder Agatha was so anxious. If my father came back and knew that Vivian owed so much money and had such a shameful disease, he would beat her to death. In Agatha's heart, when life was peaceful, Vivian was her darling. Once faced with a life-and-death situation, Vivian became her burden. Vivian seemed to finally see the reality clearly. She started looking at me with teary eyes. Sister, I'm sorry for what I did in the previous life. But now that I'm like this, can't you forgive me? I was shocked when Vivian said this. Was she also reincarnated? Seeing that I was stunned and didn't say anything, she said with tears in her eyes again, I know you're also reincarnated. Otherwise, you wouldn't know about that old man. Sister, I'm sorry. Forgive me. We're sisters. When she mentioned being sisters, I finally came to my senses. Right, we're sisters. How could she have watched me die in the previous life? I don't understand what you're talking about. Agatha avoided my eyes and walked out. Vivian continued to morally blackmail me. Can you bear to let me suffer the same hardships you endured in the previous life? Refusing to forgive your own sister is so heartless. I'm your real sister. You'll be damned by heaven if you do this. I almost laughed out loud. Why would I be damned by heaven when it comes to me? In the previous life, you gained a large number of fans and made a lot of money by playing the victim under the guise of being a good sister and selling goods. You tasted the sweetness, so even in this new life, you still planned to push me out. You still wanted me to experience the same hardships I suffered in the previous life again. Why should I forgive you just because you said sorry? Don't even think about it. I snorted coldly and replied to her, forgive you? Only when you're as miserable as I was will I consider it. I thought this would be the end of the matter. Vivian would follow the same path as I did in the previous life and come to a bad end. Until I secretly went home to pack my luggage and planned to move to the dormitory in advance. I saw that terrifying old man. Through the crack of the door, seeing that sinister and ruthless look in his eyes and recalling all the things in the previous life, I shuddered. I locked the door and didn't dare to make a single sound. All I could hear was Agatha bargaining with the old man. Add 100,000 yuan. That's 500,000 yuan in total. If you don't agree, I'll talk to others. Adding 100,000 yuan won't be a loss for you. My daughter is still a college student. If it weren't for needing the money to save my daughter, I wouldn't be willing to do this. Instantly, I felt a chill run down my spine. So everything Agatha did in the hospital was just for show. In her heart, no matter what Vivian became, she was always her darling. I was trembling all over. Squatting on the ground, hugging myself, I even bit my lips but didn't dare to make a sound. After a while, the old man said, all right. When the time comes, you go to the peanut shop on West Street and shout. They'll bring the money and take the person away. Agatha nodded vigorously and sent the old man out with a smile. After closing the door, Agatha called Vivian. Vivian, it's done. Remember not to show it for now. In front of your sister, you must pretend to be aggrieved and pitiful. That bitch of your sister was born to owe us. She deserves this. Baby, we'll get the money after we keep acting for a while. Don't let the cat out of the bag. When we get the money, I'll take you away, and no one will know that you have this disease. Our life will surely start anew. Baby, no matter what happens, Mom will always love you. You'll always be Mom's darling. When Agatha said this with a choked voice, I suddenly felt sick for no reason. How good she was at acting. She acted so well that I thought she really loathed Vivian. She acted so well that I thought she would really turn around and care about me. But I didn't expect that she had dug an even deeper pit for me. Since that's the case, I won't move out then. I repacked my luggage and silently remembered what the old man said. West Street, the peanut shop. This time, I'll make you reap what you've sown. I managed to get through to my father Gordon's phone overnight. Although he didn't love me, he loved money. This extremely selfish man had never cared about our lives. In his eyes, whoever could make money for him was his benefactor. Even when I died a miserable death in the previous life, he didn't say a word for me. Instead, because Vivian gave him some money, he was deeply grateful to Vivian. He even said more than once in front of Vivian that it was good that I died. In my heart, he was as unfit to be a parent as Agatha. This time, I could just use him to deal with that mother and daughter. I told him the whole story and also made him an empty promise, saying that I would give him 5,000 yuan every month when I made money. Unsurprisingly, he got excited as soon as he heard about the money. When he heard that there was 500,000 yuan, he rushed back overnight. Serena, Dad is coming back right away. Just wait for me to deal with those two embarrassing things. On the day Gordon arrived home, Vivian was also discharged from the hospital. When Agatha and Vivian were acting out the scene of disliking each other, Dad walked in. The moment he kicked the door open, Agatha's face changed. You? Why are you back? What? Do I have to report to you when I come back? Who the hell are you? Gordon said and slapped her hard. Agatha was slapped to the ground. Covering her swollen face, she said weakly, I was just asking. Asking? It's none of your business to ask about my affairs. Slap. 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 Gordon sat on her and slapped her back and forth. Agatha was beaten until she cried and knelt down to beg for mercy. In the past, when she was beaten, Vivian would step forward to stop it. But now, since she asked Vivian to cooperate with her in acting, Vivian just frowned and stood aside without moving. And I moved a small stool and sat aside, beating the rhythm on the table and cheering for Gordon. Come on. Work harder. She'll be more obedient after a beating. In the past, when she was beaten, I would still feel a dull pain in my heart. But now, I only felt a sense of satisfaction. When Gordon was tired from beating, Agatha huddled in the corner, biting her lip and trembling. She glanced at Vivian and gave her a wink. Vivian then sensibly poured a glass of water and brought it forward, shouting, Dad. Oh, Dad, I forgot to tell you that my sister has AIDS. I just saw her spit into your cup. As soon as I finished speaking, Gordon, who was just about to take the cup, threw it to the ground and kicked Vivian away when he heard this. You money loser. Have you grown wings or what? You even want to poison me. As he said that, he kicked her again. After thinking for a while, as if he thought she was dirty, he took off his shoes. He took the shoes and whipped Vivian's face with them. I didn't know how much pain it was. All I could hear was Vivian's screams like a pig being slaughtered. When I whispered something in Gordon's ear, Agatha panicked. She just realized that Gordon didn't lay a hand on me. In the past, whenever Gordon came back, everyone would get beaten. But this time, not only did he not beat me, but he also smiled at me. Taking advantage of Gordon going to the toilet, Agatha cursed me weakly. Serena, what trick did you play? The corner of my mouth curled up. You'll know soon. When I was leaving, Vivian glanced at me and said, Don't be too smug. There will be a day when you'll beg for mercy. How funny. Even at this time, she still thought that she could make me beg for mercy. I'd like to see who would be the one begging for mercy then. The peanut shop on West Street. Quite coincidentally, the people I saw were the tattooed men who came to ask for debts before. When those men saw me, their eyes immediately lit up. When I told them to take the money and go to tie someone up, they got excited. Could it be that you're talking about Vivian? Yes. I replied with a smile. Hurry up. In this way, the money she owes you can be paid off. When I fled back to the dormitory, those men also rushed into my home. In order to watch this excitement, I secretly installed a surveillance camera at home. In the video, Vivian was so scared when she saw those men that she immediately knelt down on the ground. The leader took out the money and waved it in front of them. I brought the money, but this amount is exactly the same as what you owe me. Seeing the bag of money, Agatha was the first to react. You've got it wrong. It's not her. It's not her. However, no matter how loudly she shouted, no one paid any attention to her anymore. After all, she had said it was her daughter before. But she had more than one daughter. Gordon, who didn't understand the situation clearly, got anxious when he saw the money being taken back. He immediately took action. Arrogant and domineering as he was quickly pinned to the ground and beaten up violently. In an instant, there was chaos everywhere, with people screaming and crying. When Vivian was being taken away, Agatha cried hysterically, shouting, "It's a mistake! It's a mistake!" She looked at Vivian being dragged away pitifully and kowtowed desperately in despair, my Vivian, while Gordon, lying on the ground unable to move, still didn't forget to shout, "The money! My money!" Seeing that they were both powerless, one wanting to save the person and the other wanting the money, I was overjoyed. Thinking of how they lived a happy life after I was tortured to death in the past, I was filled with hatred. After getting my revenge, I planned to stay away from this family. I'm going to graduate this year, and I can't let this family ruin my life again. When I was about to take the college entrance examination, Agatha refused to let me go to college no matter what. Finally, it was only after I promised her that I wouldn't spend a penny from the family and would give her 2,000 yuan every month that she reluctantly agreed. But her condition was that I couldn't apply to universities in other cities. I think her conspiracy started from that time. She had planned from the very beginning to wait for me to grow up and marry me off to get money in exchange. It was only quiet for a couple of days before Gordon recovered from his injuries. Agatha brought him to look for me at school. To my surprise, Vivian was also there and she was unharmed. She walked over first, raised her chin, and looked at me sideways. "I've got good news for you." As soon as I was dragged to the old man's place, the old man died. Not only was I okay, but I also paid off the debt. I really should thank you. Can't help it. I'm the chosen one. I've been lucky since I was a kid. You might not be so lucky, though. After saying that, she glanced at Gordon behind her and stepped aside. Gordon rushed up ferociously and slapped me hard across the face. "How dare you play tricks on me? I think you don't want to live anymore." I don't know what Agatha had said behind my back, but Gordon took out all his anger on me. Seeing my stubborn look, Gordon took out a fruit knife from his arms and held it against my face. "Not convinced, huh? I'll disfigure your face." Taking advantage of the moment before he made a move, I deliberately grabbed the knife firmly. The tip of the knife stabbed into my palms, and blood gushed out instantly. The pain made it hard for me to breathe. But at that moment, the pleasure of revenge filled my whole body, and I also felt a sense of satisfaction. Gordon didn't expect that I would dare to resist. He was stunned for a moment. I took the opportunity to break free, got up, and started shouting, "Help! He's trying to kill me! Help! He's trying to kill me!" My cries attracted many teachers and students. The school security guards also rushed out and subdued Gordon in a few moves and called the police. I collapsed to the side, pale and trembling, murmuring constantly, "He's trying to kill me! He's trying to kill me!" Gordon, who was pinned down, struggled hard while shouting curses, "Let me go! What's wrong with me beating my own daughter? Even if I kill her, it's none of your business." These two sentences aroused public anger, and people rushed forward to condemn him one after another. Taking advantage of the fact that people's attention was not on me, I secretly glanced at Agatha and Vivian standing in the distance. They were secretly laughing with schadenfreude. I couldn't help sneering in my heart. Just wait. You two are next. When the police arrived, the ambulance also came. After the doctor bandaged my wounds, I had also prepared my emotions. When giving my statement, I was trembling as I spoke. "Uncle Police, he wanted to kill me. He's been beating me since I was a kid. This time just because I didn't have money for him he brought a knife and wanted to kill me. Woo-woo, Uncle Police, I'm so scared." The onlookers also came forward one after another to testify for me. To my greatest surprise, Agatha also walked up crying. "Uncle Police, I'm her mother. I can testify that he has tried to sell her for money more than once. And he has threatened the lives of our mother and daughter more than once." Vivian also came up crying and knelt down. "I'm also his daughter. I can testify too." As soon as Agatha finished speaking, Gordon got angry. "You two bitches! How dare you talk nonsense? I'll kill you." The police officer immediately handcuffed him. The fact was that he had injured someone with a knife. No matter how hard he struggled and explained, it was all in vain. I think he won't be able to get out for several years. With Gordon in prison, Agatha was the happiest. That day, she couldn't stop smiling and said to me with a smug look, "Serena, Serena, I really should thank you. With your father locked up we'll have a good life." When she said we, she only meant her and Vivian. She held Vivian's hand and smiled, "But you might not be so lucky." Vivian also snorted coldly with the corners of her mouth curled up. "Sister, don't even think about having a good life." I turned around and left with no expression on my face. In the future, it's really hard to say who won't have a good life. A few days after this incident, Agatha couldn't stay still. She was quite smart. Having learned from Gordon's lesson, she definitely wouldn't lay a hand on me. She just made herself look disheveled every day and told everyone at the school gate that I was driving her to death. There were many onlookers, and she even lay on the ground, crying, making a scene, and threatening to hang herself. Vivian was also standing by, holding her mobile phone and doing a live stream. In the previous life, she had tasted the sweetness of live streaming sales. In this life, she wanted to profit from my misfortune. When she saw me, she looked at me provocatively. "So what if you have a second chance? I can still ruin you." Seeing her so smug, I just wanted to laugh. Fly high, because only when you fly higher will it hurt more when you fall. With Agatha acting like that, many netizens who didn't know the details took things out of context and stood by her side, scolding me for being unfilial. For a while, the number of fans on Vivian's account increased rapidly. All of a sudden, I became the unfilial person that everyone condemned, while Vivian became the most caring daughter in the world. I wasn't in a hurry to come out and explain. I just quietly waited for the right moment. On the weekend, Agatha and Vivian came early in the morning. Because it was the weekend, not only were there many people watching the live stream, but also there were crowds of onlookers around. When she saw me coming out, she quickly pointed the camera at me and filmed me. Everyone looked quickly. "This is my ungrateful sister. She usually beats and scolds us." Woo-woo. This one sentence aroused public anger. The screen was full of bullet comments scolding me, and the onlookers also took out their mobile phones one after another to take advantage of this traffic. I lowered my head and didn't say anything. When I looked up again, I had forced out big tears. With my eyes red, I suddenly felt weak and slid to my knees on the ground and started crying loudly. While crying, I rolled up my sleeves and trouser legs, and the scars on them were exposed. New wounds and old scars, it was a shocking sight. Since I was a kid, no matter what Vivian did wrong, I was always the one who got beaten. Just because I was the older sister, I was supposed to take the blame for all her mistakes. These scars have become an eternal pain in my heart, a kind of pain that I never dared to expose so blatantly before. Take a good look, everyone. Which vicious older sister would be beaten like this? Since I was a kid, I was the one who got scolded and beaten. Even the family dog could bite me when it was in a bad mood. Since I was a kid, they burned me with cigarettes, hit me with bowls, and whipped me with hangers. That was my daily life. I didn't have enough to eat and didn't have warm clothes to wear. I was crying so hard that I could hardly breathe. When I got my period during puberty, I wasn't even qualified to use sanitary napkins. And my so-called good younger sister ate well, used good things, and could even ride roughshod over me, scolding and beating me. She's the most vicious one. What I said was true, and the pain in my heart was real too. The truth will always make people more empathetic. Agatha and Vivian didn't expect that I would expose my most shameful scars. Both of them were a bit stunned. Vivian even forgot to turn off the live stream that was filming me. However, the bullet comments on the screen changed to ones expressing sympathy for me. Many people in the crowd also had red eyes. Some older women with red eyes accused Agatha, "They're both your daughters. How could you be so heartless?" Only after these words were spoken did the two of them come to their senses. Vivian hurriedly turned off the live stream, and Agatha was about to rush up to hit me. But now that I had just become the pitiful little rabbit that everyone sympathized with, how could the justice-driven women let her hit me? The women blocked her a few meters away from me and threw the eggs from their baskets at her head. In no time, the two of them were beaten and fled in a hurry. After this turmoil, Vivian was completely dug up by netizens. She couldn't hide the fact that she had AIDS anymore. Because of this, she didn't dare to go out anymore and went crazy at home with Agatha every day. After going crazy, she blamed this matter on me again. She called my school every day, asking the school to expel me. After making so many calls, the school leaders got annoyed and asked me to deal with my family affairs as soon as possible. When I was worried about this, I received a call from a man who claimed to be Vivian's ex-boyfriend. The man on the other end of the phone seemed to be suppressing an uncontrollable anger. "Tell me where Vivian is quickly. She infected me with that disease and ruined my whole life. I'm going to settle accounts with her. She still pretended to be an innocent girl in front of me and cheated me out of so much money. I think she doesn't want to live anymore. I warn you. I know which school you're from through the video. If you don't tell me where she is, I'll come and kill you." Wasn't he just like a helpful lay phone? Besides, I couldn't let Vivian ruin my life. As soon as the man finished speaking, I obediently told him my home address. Half a day later, Agatha called. She was crying and shouting on the phone, asking me to come back quickly. "Your sister has been beaten. Come back quickly." I remained unmoved. She continued to wail, "Mom can only rely on you now. Come back quickly." I snorted and didn't say anything. What kind of grudges could be more important than your sister's life? Is your heart made of ice? I hung up the phone with a snap. "Now you know that you can only rely on me?" Because I was afraid that they would come to the school to find me, I still decided to find time to go back. Before I even entered the house, I heard the voices of my 3 uncles. "You still want us to pay for her care? You're really wishful thinking." "Exactly. What does it have to do with us? It's all your own doing. Don't try to morally blackmail us. We don't have any morals at all." "Right. You can just let Serena take care of her alone. Didn't you raise her hoping that she could be useful one day?" Yeah. Now she comes in handy. Anyway, if you hadn't been pregnant with her, you wouldn't have married Gordon." "Exactly. If you hadn't married Gordon, you wouldn't have had all these troubles. Ultimately, it's Serena who has ruined your life." My heart seemed to be squeezed hard by someone, feeling sour and swollen. Just because she got pregnant with me and married Gordon, she blamed all the misfortunes that happened later on me. But how innocent the first was. Born into such a family, I had never enjoyed a bit of warmth. When I was a child, even every time I called Mom or Dad, I would get a beating in return. Thinking of this, I felt a pang of sadness. So it turned out that since I was a kid, she had always thought that I had ruined her life. After taking a deep breath, I walked in. As soon as everyone saw me, they immediately fell silent. Originally, I thought that Vivian had only suffered some minor injuries. However, I didn't expect that the Vivian I saw had her legs and arms broken, lying on a bamboo bed and moaning constantly. "That's Serena. Now that your sister is like this and your mother is old, you should drop out of school for now and help the family get through this difficult time first." Yeah. It wasn't easy for your mother to raise you. You can't just ignore your family now. Everyone started to morally blackmail me. Agatha also looked at me pitifully and said, "Let's just forget all the grudges between us in the past. Mom won't hold it against you anymore. You and Vivian are both flesh and blood that fell from Mom's body. Mom will be heartbroken if either of you is gone." Suddenly, I felt like laughing. Heartbroken? Forgive and forget? Not hold it against me anymore? Why should I forgive and bear all of this just because you've hurt me for 20 years and now say forgive and forget in the end? This was the biggest joke I'd ever heard. I shook my head and spread my hands. What can I do? All of this is your own doing. How can you make a helpless little girl like me bear it? My dear mother, I'm no longer that little girl who could be manipulated and bullied by you. Then I walked up to Vivian, looked at her extremely painful appearance, and snorted with a smile, "Mom and sister should be bound together in this life. It's only right. At that moment, the despair in her eyes reached the bottomless abyss, and her body trembled along with it. But I seemed to see something extremely disgusting. I covered my nose and walked away quickly. After graduation, I went to work in a city more than 1,000 kilometers away from home. I changed my name and started a new life. The next time I heard about Vivian was about how she suffered a lot and passed away. And the woman I used to call Mom went crazy from then on. She wandered through the streets and alleys of various cities, asking everyone she met, "Where's my Serena? Have you seen my Serena?" Her videos were filmed and posted online. When my colleagues showed them to me, they said, "This mother must love her child so much. How pitiful." I smiled and said, "I think she's just reaping what she sowed and got her comeuppance."